that's embarrassing. Welcome to another episode of Project Renegade. As you saw in the beginning shots, we've got quite a lot of noise coming from the rear end, and I've managed to track it down. It's actually the bushings and the ball joint for the upper rear control arm. Unlike most other vehicles, you have two lower control arms and two upper control arms. Well, on the Jeep Liberties and I believe the Dodge Nitros, they have two lower control arms and one upper, like a triangle, kind of A-frame upper that has a ball joint in the center. So I tracked it down to that being the issue that's making the noise and allowing the rear end to move around a lot. I put a small camera underneath there, and I'll stick some footage in here so you can see what exactly is going on with that. This is just where I'm backing out of the driveway. You can see that the axle moves quite a lot. And that's the ball joint that you're seeing right there in the center of the screen. You can see that it's moving around a lot. If you notice all the grease that's in there, well, that's kind of a mistake I made. I found out that it was that part, and when I was deciding whether I was just going to replace the entire part or just press in a new ball joint and new bushings, I figured I would just pack the bushings and the ball joint full of grease to try to get it to be a little bit quieter. But as you can see, some of it squirts out here. And as you can guess, that's going to be a pain when I go to take this off because there's going to be grease everywhere. So that was pretty stupid on my part. Okay, now we're going to open up the box here and check out the part that we ordered. As I said before, instead of doing just the ball joint and the bushings, I decided to just go ahead and order the whole control arm, so it would already have the bushings and the ball joint installed. I saw this and I was like, wait a minute, there's no ball joint sticking out of there, but there it is. It's just a little plastic cover. It looks like the correct part, and it looks like they actually gave us new little loops for the emergency brake cables, which really isn't necessary. The one that's under there is still fairly good, but I mean, it was, you know, I could pull it out and then you press out these bushings here on each side, and then you have the ball joint pressed out, and then you get new ones pressed in. Well, the ball joint itself I found was like $59.99 for the cheapest I could find, and I think they were 20 bucks a piece, or it might have been 30 bucks a piece, I'm not quite sure, for the actual bushings themselves. And I don't have a press here in the garage, so I would have to take it to a shop and have them press all that stuff in. So by the time I did all that, I figured, you know what, I'll just buy the whole new arm. So it's got both new lower control arms and bushings, and now it'll have the new upper control arm, bushings, and ball joint. So I guess that's enough talking about that, and we're going to get to work on this. As you can see, I've got Project Renegade jacked up as high as I can get it. Okay, as you can see, I've got it on jack stands, and I've got the jack under the differential. It's just barely touching it. It's actually not really lifting on it. It's just under there for an extra little bit of safety. And of course, I've got the wheels off of it. One, that allows me, you know, to get the suspension down lower, and two, it actually allows me to get the camera in here to where you can see a little bit better. Okay, we're over here on the passenger side, just so you can kind of get an idea of where we're at. There's the gas tank, your differential, coil spring, shock, and then your exhaust system. And then there's this bolt right here that we're going to take off. There's one on the other side just like it. My only concern is, will I be able to get it out without having to lower the exhaust like I had to do to replace this lower control arm. I can't get any power tools in there, so I'm going to have to do this by hand. But luckily, they've all these bolts have been soaking in penetrating oil for about a day now. So, okay, I've got an extendable ratchet here with a 15mm socket on it. I'm going to see if I can get it to break loose. And then, if I can, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I don't want to take these completely out. I just want to make sure that I can get them broke free. And since I can, I'm going to see if I can get a ratchet wrench in here. Okay, so I should be able to get that out without removing the exhaust. Okay, same thing on the other side, but over here it looks like I'm going to have room for power tools. So we're going to try. Let's see if we can break it loose. I like to work them back and forth a little bit, especially if you have penetrating oil on there. It kind of helps work it in a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll drive them out a little bit and then back in. Okay, that is loose. Now we need to get to the center bolt, and I'll show you where that's at. Okay, for the center bolt, I'm going to see if I can get you in here. Zoom in. You can see that bolt right there on the top of the differential. It's an 18mm. It's actually got a tab on the other side, so you don't have to put a wrench or anything on that. You just have to take the nut off of this side, and then you have to drive the bolt out. The ball joint won't come off if that bolt is in there. It's actually got a little indentation that the bolt goes through. So you actually have to drive the bolt out. So the next step is to see if I can break that loose. Okay, this is an 18mm nut. I think I can get my impact in here. I can. Same thing, doing the back and forth. Okay, that actually came off a lot easier than I expected. I mean, surprisingly, there's not a whole lot of rust underneath this thing. So now we just need to drive that bolt out. Okay, after a bunch of wiggling and hammering, it seems that I could get it out there. I'm starting to run into the issue of that grease that I was talking about earlier. Okay, now that that's out, I'm going to try to push the control arm up to see if I can get the ball joint free. Since I'm not reusing this control arm, I'm just going to start off by banging on it with a hammer and see if that works, but I doubt it will. Looks like I may have to use the jack and a piece of wood to kind of press it out. Okay, I'm going to move the camera out of here because I don't know when or if this is going to drop, and I don't want it to smash the camera. Okay, I've tried a little bit of everything. I got the factory jack from the Liberty out. It's underneath the differential. I've used my floor jack and haven't got this thing to budge. I've sat here and pounded on it and pounded on it. Like I said, I used my fork here and I got it that far. And then I had an idea, and I'm gonna see if this will do anything, but I don't know if it's actually going to. I'm gonna take a chisel and wedge it in between this slit here and just kind of hammer it in. Maybe that'll open up that hole a little bit, and then I can take the hammer or something, or the jack, and push it the rest of the way out. Put that here and see if I can. Really? Really? Well, I guess I just don't know. You learn something every day, I guess. Simplest thing, I guess I should have done that from the get-go. I feel really stupid now. But I'm going to leave that in here, because if any of you watched the video of me doing the lower control arms, I mentioned that not everything goes exactly like it does on, these TV shows and other YouTube channels that do, automotive stuff. They go through and edit out everything that makes them look stupid. I try to do that, and I used to do that, but now I'm going to try to start leaving more of that in here. That was stupid. Yeah, that. Just a chisel, and then it came out by itself. I'm going to go take a break. Okay, now we're going to take off these little 10mm bolts. They are just connected to a piece of wire that hold the emergency brake cable up. I'm going to take the hangers off and everything because the new A-arm comes with new hooks. There's one on the other side. I'm not going to move the camera to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and take that one off. Okay, back to the rear bolts. Now we're down to just these two. And I got this one where it's loose enough where I can actually use a ratchet wrench to take it off. I'm using a ratchet wrench so I don't have to take the exhaust system down. I'm hoping these bolts aren't too long. They shouldn't be that long. They may be too long because I'm actually hitting the muffler. Yeah, just push it out of the way a little bit. Okay, and then this one over here. Now I should be able to pull this out of here. Try to figure out the best way to go about doing that. Okay, there we go. Now I really regret putting all that grease in there trying to get this stuff to be quiet, because now I'm covered in it. And I've got to try to figure out a way to stop the camera. Okay, here's a comparison of the old one and the new one. As you can see on the old one, that ball joint is shot. And on the new one, I can't even move it. Let's go ahead and try to get this up in here. I could be wrong, but this new A-arm feels a lot heavier. Or could be I'm just getting tired. Just get these started. Okay, hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. I've got a ratchet strap wrapped around the differential and over top of the upper A-arm. And as I ratchet, it pulls it down in. Hopefully, all the way into place. Oh, I forgot my chisel was in there. There we go. Got that through. Now I should be able to release the ratchet strap. Take 18mm socket. Okay, we'll just throw that on the ground. Tighten this down. We can go ahead and completely tighten this. Okay, now I need to take these little 10mm bolts out and then hook the wire around the emergency brake cable and then bolt that back on. Okay, we got both of those on there. We got the ball joint itself tight and the 2 bolts on the outside here. I need to run those in just a little bit more, and then I'm going to jack the axle back up, put the tires back on it, and set it back down under its own weight, and then tighten those fully. Okay, the wheels are back on and they're torqued, and I've got the 2 front bushing bolts torqued down, so everything is put back together. I'm going to move some tools and stuff out of the way, open up the garage door, and see if that sound is gone. It's gone. Well, I think I'm gonna take it out and drive it around the block and make sure everything seems okay, but I think that's just about it. So thanks for watching another episode of Project Renegade. If you're not one of my subscribers and you came across this video, make sure to go into my channel and check out a couple other videos. We've got all kinds of stuff on there. I've got, stuff on this, which is Project Renegade, stuff on another Jeep that hopefully we'll start back soon. It's in the body shop right now, so hopefully we'll be getting it back and working on doing some more videos of it. And I've got all kinds of other stuff, so make sure to check those out. If you find a video that you like, hit the like button. If you have something to say, leave it down in the comments. And if you find a couple videos that you like, don't forget to subscribe to my channel.